Hi there, this is Ronnie Amber's Night coming at you with a video. Little different today. I thought I would do a couple of reviews. Um, so I am going today to be reviewing Citadels and Love Letter. I will deal with Citadels first. This is a card game, they're both card games. This is for 2 to 8 players. Now the reason I say 2 to 8, the standard game is 2 to 7 players. But this lovely little box, I'll give Fantasy Flight the credit here, lovely little box, is does include the Dark City expansion, which essentially is a few new characters that you can choose to play and some extra districts. I do have some quibbles with this game, but I'll get to those at the end. They're very, very minor, but you know, I like to give a full review. The game is very simple. At the start of the game, each player chooses a character secretly from the character deck. If you're playing with 2 or 3 players, you get to pick 2, but you don't pick them at the same time. You would pick one, then it goes around the table, and then you pick another, and it goes around the table again. The characters are numbered 1 to 8, or can go up to 9 if you use the expansion. You can only have one of each number. There are because of the expansion, you now have 2 cards that are numbered 1, 2 cards that are numbered 2, 2 and number 3, and so on. You can only pick one of them. You know, you can't have 2 of the number 3s or 4s, whatever. So you pick one if you're using the full game. You pick one secretly, and once everyone has done that, you have a draw deck of citadels. These are city places, castles, keeps, and so on. There are 5 district colours as well. You start with 4 in your hand. Start of your turn, you also start with 2 gold pieces. At the start of the turn, the cards are called out in order. First card, second card, third card, so on. Usually by name, although you could technically just go number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 if you were that way inclined. Whoever owns that card then gets to take an action. They can either take 2 gold from the bank, or they can take 2 cards from the district deck, which is essentially your draw deck, keep one, and put the other one at the bottom of the draw deck. Then you can, if you wish, pay gold to lay down one of your district cards. The district cards all have a gold value, and that's the amount that you pay to put the card down. Your characters can also perform an action. The assassin, for example, can assassinate another character, which means whoever has him, because you don't assassinate a player, you assassinate a character, because you don't know what the other players have. You can guess, but you don't know. You can assassinate one of the other characters. And they wouldn't get to take their shot. The thief gets to steal the gold from another character, as long as it's not the assassin or the assassin's target, and so on. And you can use that power. At the end of the turn, when everyone has had a go, all the character cards come in again, and the round starts with you picking characters. So you can play a different character each turn, depending on your strategy. The game continues until someone has put down 8. There is a card from the expanded pack called the Belfry. If that gets played, then you only have to put 7 citadels down. But other than that, it's 8. And the round in which someone puts down their 8th citadel becomes the last round. And after that, there is scoring. You score the districts depending on their wealth, and there are other factors. First person to get 8. If you have one of the 5 different, if you have citadels at each of the 5 different colours, you get bonus points as well. Do I like this game? Yes, it's incredibly simple. It sounds a little convoluted from my description, but it's actually very easy in playing. The fact that you don't keep the same character all the time, that you can change it every round, makes it very interesting to play. Very, very strategic, very involved. You've got to be constantly thinking all the time. Quibbles, very, very small quibbles, but in the in fairness to a balanced review, I will mention the 2 quibbles. The first quibble is you get a little pack of 30 gold pieces. Little pack of 30. It's not enough. If you were to have a full game with 8 players, they each start with 2 gold pieces. And then you can, each turn, each player in the round could decide, rather than play a card, simply take 2 gold from the bank. Now, if all 8 players have 2 golds to start with and take 2 gold from the bank, you're going to run out of gold, because that would be 32 gold pieces and you only have 30. I have written to Fantasy Flight, and Fantasy Flight have said, no, we don't do extras, we don't sell extras. Your 30 gold pieces will just have to be enough. It's not enough. It's the main quibble. What I ended up doing was going onto eBay and buying these, which are gold counters, just little plastic gaming counters. I bought 2 packs of 50. I've kept the 30 gold pieces. A friend of mine actually likes this game very much, and I said if he ever got it, I would give them the 30 gold pieces, and that way they would have 60, which should be enough to go on with. But the 30 gold really technically isn't enough. The other thing is that this is being marketed as a game for 14 and up. This game is nowhere near complicated enough for that. You could easily teach this to 12-year-olds, possibly even 10-year-olds. It's nowhere near as complicated. I find Fantasy Flight very odd in this regard, that they have Game of Thrones, a board game, marketed for 14 ups, which I fully agree with because it's quite involved. It's quite straightforward, but it's very involved. And this at 14, whereas Warrior Knights, which I think is far more complicated than either of them, not helped with the fact that the rulebook's not particularly well written, is marketed for 12 and ups, which is odd. But those are 2 minor quibbles ultimately. Is the game a good one? Yes, it is. It's a lot of fun. I'm sure there's people out there who have games very similar to this, and if they do, they probably don't need this. But if you don't have anything similar to that, this is well worth getting, and it's quite cheap as well. Love Letter. Very, very quick game. It takes about 20-30 minutes, depending on the players. There's only 16 cards in this game. Again, numbered 1 to 8, somewhat thematic. The idea of the game is that we are all suitors trying to win the hand of the princess, and we do that by trying to get our love letter through to the princess, our little token, our love letter every day. In reality, what that means is that you're trying to knock all the other players out. Every card that you play has an ability. For example, the Guard, which is the lowest valued card. The Guard allows you to guess the card held by another player. If you guess right, that player's out of that round. You only have 1 card in your hand. Every turn you pick up a card and then you play a card. You put it down in front of you. You have to play one of your cards, whether it's good for you, bad for you, whatever. Amazingly simple. You don't keep cards in your hand. You just only have 1. You can only have 1 in your hand. You pick up 1, you play 1. You keep 1 in your hand. If you knock the other players out, or If the draw pile is gone and you hold the highest value card, then you take a token, which is a little red block, and it goes on to the next round. If you're playing a two-player game, it's the first to 7, first to get 7 of those blocks. If it's a three-player game, the first to 5. And the four-player game, this is the maximum, which is first to 4. Do I like this game? Absolutely. It's a hoot. It's a very quick game. It's a lot of memory and focus and watching what everyone else is doing. I've played this with 2 rather attractive policemen. I've played this with elderly residents at a residential block, and I've played this at Motherwell. Adults, kids are there as well. Great game, very simple, nothing particularly complicated. It took a couple of rounds for them to, for some of them to get into it, but once they got into it, they were in. It was great. It's a lot of fun, and people really enjoy it. So I would recommend this highly, and it's incredibly cheap as well. It's less than £8 in your local shop. I would recommend both these games. I really would. This love letter is from AEG Games. Citadels is from Fantasy Flight. I would recommend them both. They're great games and a lot of fun to play. And so that's our review, and I'll be back soon with another video.